Hi, Pittsburgh. So there's been a lot of conversation. There's been a lot of anxiety. There's been a lot of anger that's been spread across the city, across this country, and that's not the way we do it in Pittsburgh. So we're here today for one simple reason, that where there's hate, we are going to show love. Where there is darkness, we are going to show light. And where there are people that are feeling upset and scared, we're going to give them security. So we're here together today, Democrats and Republicans. We're here today as ministers, imams, and rabbis. We're here today as people from all of the different parts of our community that have felt marginalized, have been put down. And we're here to work all together to bring all of us up. It's my honor to welcome Bishop Loren Mann, who will lead us over this next hour as we pray for Pittsburgh and we pray for peace.
Thank you, Mayor. To Mayor Peduto and all elected officials, and to you, ladies and gentlemen, everybody from everywhere, thank you for coming on this beautiful day for this very, very special occasion. You know, in my many travels across this country, when I'm introduced from Pittsburgh, I always tell people about we're the city of three rivers. The Monongahela to the south, the Allegheny to the north, and they come together and kiss and give birth to the Ohio River. That is symbolic of where we are in this current place in our history, not only in Pittsburgh, but in our nation. Regardless of being one to the north and one to the south, we are much better when we come together. And the Allegheny and the Ohio create a river that is longer than the two of them, which runs down to the mighty Mississippi. And so that's why we're here today, to bring our forces together against hate. And it's interesting that 20 years ago today, Franco Harris, our Pro Football Hall of Famer, stood on this very spot in a protest against Nazism. He's going to come and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Franco.
Thank you, Bishop, Mayor, thank you, dignitaries, and people of Pittsburgh, Western Pennsylvania, hello. Well, I don't know how many of you have gone through the airport. When you go through the airport, there's a statue in the airport. Now, have people taken pictures by that statue? Maybe a couple of you. Well, I took a picture at the airport also, but I took it next to my hero, George Washington. And that's my screensaver, me and George Washington. And I think about those times where, when you think about George and Betsy Ross, when she was knitting, not the terrible towel, come on guys, I know you think, but, our wonderful flag and a symbol of our country. You think about our country and you think back then when during those days, George Washington, there was a lot of turmoil, a lot of things going on, but they kept progressing. And throughout our history, there's always been a lot of stuff going on. There's a lot of stuff all the time. And you think about our country, you look at it, and hey, it basically started with, the Indians here, and hope that's not a message to cut me off. But then the, English, the Germans, the French, the Spanish came, and then after that, the slaves, and then all people from Europe and around the world started to come. Even amongst all of, we think we have problems, people still want to come here. They still come here from all over the world. And every new wave brings new hope. And it just, through all our problems, through all the things that we faced through all these years, we're the greatest country in the world. We're able to overcome all these problems, all these things, all these inner turmoils that we have. We keep moving forward because we always have hope. People always bring their hope and their vision of the future. So I just want to get back to George and Betsy Rushwin. You know, this flag means so much. Now look at, my father, World War II, and my mom from Italy over there. It was rough. And a number of your parents or grandparents fought in wars to protect this flag and for this flag. And there is only one flag here in America. Only one. No foreign flags and no foreign powers. There's no doubt that people are trying to they know they can't get us from without, so they try to get us from within. And that's what they're trying to do, tear us apart from within. But this flag will keep us together. And let's pledge allegiance to this great flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. One flag, one country. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Franco. We have a number of religious leaders, interfaith leaders who are with us today, and I'm going to invite them to please come to the stage after I've introduced all of them. They each will give you a short comment today because we're trying to work it into the hour that you have. Oh, and they will come after the national anthem. Officer Ron Hoke is going to sing our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you, Officer Hope. Father Ron Lingwin is here representing the Catholic Diocese of Pittsburgh, if you would come, sir. Rabbi Sharon Henry of Rodef Shalom Congregation. Rabbi Ron Simons of the Jewish Community Center of Greater Pittsburgh. Cantor soloist, if you are here, please come. Wasi Muhammad, Executive Director of the Islamic Center of Pittsburgh. Let's give a hand for these interfaith leaders. If there are any that I have missed, you may feel free to come.
I'm here representing Bishop David Zubik, who just a few weeks ago had major surgery on his back. He's doing very well, but his doctor doesn't allow them to do things like this, so he regrets he cannot be here. What we were asked to do is present a short picture of, on my part, how Christianity might view what it is that we have gathered for today, and others will do so from other religious communities. We know that every human being has God-given respect and dignity, but not every cause is worthy of respect. White supremacy, for example, is such a cause because it exists to deprive others of the dignity and respect that are theirs as children of God. It's fundamentally evil, as are the beliefs it has fostered, including slavery, Jim Crow laws, Nazism, anti-Semitism, and Islamophobia in all their various forms. Such causes are incompatible with Christianity, with the mission and message of Jesus. His parable of the Good Samaritan tells of a man from a culture and religion that Jesus' listeners, his followers, had been taught to despise. Yet Jesus said, this man came to the rescue of one of them, a stranger who his own people had left to die at the hands of robbers. So the Good Shepherd is a lesson about ethnic, religious, and cultural reconciliations, showing that we can care for one another even when we don't agree with one another. It's about what it means to be neighbors. And we in the city of Fred Rogers know about neighbors. We know neighbors should celebrate their traditions and do so in ways that make everyone from every neighborhood welcome. And so, for instance, some of us, even though our ancestors may not have been German, might enjoy participating in Oktoberfest next month, when German culture is celebrated with brass bands, beer, and a sign of healing. And this kind of reconciliation shows America at her best. However, if someone proposed celebrating German heritage with Nazi flags and a reenactment of the Nuremberg rallies, virtually everyone would be horrified. Nazism is an evil ideology that declares some people are unworthy of life and is directly responsible for the death of millions of people in concentration camps, on battlefields, and in the rubble of war. So there is a world of difference between celebrating a cultural heritage and promoting an evil cause that once festered in that culture. And our nation is still struggling to emerge from criminal inequality born in slavery, raised in segregation, and that still taints our best vision of America. But no matter what anyone says or does to deny it, in God's eyes, we are all equal, all of us. And speaking to the deepest divisions of the society in which he labored to spread Christianity, the Apostle Paul wrote it this way: there is neither Jew nor Greek, there is neither slave nor free person, there is not male or female, for you are all one in Christ Jesus. And Pope Francis said, the problem of intolerance must be confronted in all forms. Wherever any minority is persecuted and marginalized because of its religious convictions or ethnic identity, the well-being of society as a whole is endangered and each and every one of us must feel effective. Racism wounds us all. Let us then come together as neighbors. Let us counter hatred with love, and let's show how much good we can do when we are united in our response to evil.
I'm Rabbi Sharon Henry. This is Molly May. She's a cantoral soloist at Road of Shalom. In a minute, we're going to sing together. She's going to help us learn the words, all in English. This week, Jews all over the world will be reading from the book of Deuteronomy. And in English, we'll read a verse that says, "See, I have set before you this day life and good, and death and evil." Our tradition teaches that free will is given into the hands of each and every human being. So, Pittsburgh, we can choose evil and death or life and good. And because this is Pittsburgh, we know that we will choose good. We'll choose to teach our children. We'll choose to teach our children that we were all created in the image of God, and that we should be judged, as Dr. King said, by the content of our character. We know that racism and anti-Semitism and all other forms of hatred, they're all evil. And so we in Pittsburgh will choose the opposite. We choose good. So take a look at your hands. In Hebrew, one hand is called a yad, another hand is called a yad. We put those together. We have the Hebrew word for friendship, yedidut. It's a beautiful idea. When we put our hands together, there's a lot that we can do that we can't do on our own. And so what a beautiful thing it is to be here. I really thank the mayor for making this happen today. Our ancient Jewish sages asked a question. They said, if not now, when? They're talking about when will we make things right. The answer is today and every day. We, you and I, choose to stand up and fight against hatred, and we choose to do it together, yad b'yad, hand in hand, yedidut, in friendship.
This is a song by Carrie Newcomer. It's not necessarily a Jewish song, but she's channeling Rabbi Hillel, who said, if not now, when? And as you know it, as you pick up the words and the refrain, feel free, please, to join me in song. If not now, tell me when. If not now, tell me when. We may never see this moment or place and time again. If not now, tell me when. I see sorrow and trouble in this land. I see sorrow and trouble in this land. Although there will be struggle, we'll make the change we can. If not now, tell me when. If not now, tell me when. If not now, tell me when. We may never see this moment or place and time again. If not now, tell me when. I may never see the promised land. I may never see the promised land. And yet we'll make the journey. We'll walk it hand in hand. If not now, tell me when. If not now, tell me when. If not now, tell me when. We may never see this moment or place and time again. If not now, tell tell me when. So we'll work until it's done. Every daughter, every son, every soul that's ever longed for something better, something brighter. It will take a change of heart for this to mend. It will take a change of heart for this to mend. But miracles do happen, every shining now and then. If not now, tell me when. If not now, tell me when. If not now, tell me when. We may never see this moment or place and time again. If not now, tell me when.
Thank you so much. That was amazing. Assalamu alaikum. May peace and blessings be upon all of you. My name is Wasi Muhammad. I'm the executive director of the Islamic Center of Pittsburgh, meaning I'm an administrator, not a clergy, so I'm not as well spoken. I apologize. It is. I will do the best I can. I was going to open by sharing the 20th surah of the Quran, verses 25 to 28. رب اشرح لي صدري بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. This translates to, O my Lord, expand me my chest and ease my task for me. Remove the impediment from my speech so they may understand what I say. And I chose to share this particular verse for two main reasons. The first one being, this is the story of Moses whenever he was going to speak to the Pharaoh. And before he did it, he wanted to make supplication, dua, prayer to God. Right? And this was the prayer that he made, and from it we derive some wisdom about how we should make prayer and what we should ask for. Whenever we're faced with tests or trials in this life, we should ideally not ask for that to be removed. The prayer was not, please make the Pharaoh disappear. It was, please give me the strength to overcome this trial, to pass this test. And that's very important to remember that's when we make prayer, we try to focus on that in Islam. And the second thing that came to mind whenever reading this is that I actually use this one all the time, so I picked it. It was one of the ones I personally really like before I give speeches because I hate public speaking, or have a test, or especially when I say it, is whenever my success in a situation, if I am not successful, the community will suffer. Right? And then in that time, I asked for courage, I asked for strength to overcome this for the sake of the community. And I brought that up now because that is a position each and every one of us is in right now. I actually saw your sign. I loved it. Could I see it? Could you hold it up? Show it to the crowd? Other side, other side. So we are the leaders we've been looking for. Right? So this fight is not going to be something that people can say that I'm out of, right? This isn't my fight, this is somebody else's fight. Inaction is no longer acceptable. For this to change, for the situation to change in this country and around the world, everybody kind of has to take it upon themselves to change themselves to improve society. If we want peace, thank you. And at the end of the song, I think it said that we need a change of heart to get what we need. And if we want peace, it starts with individually changing how we are. And to focus, one thing that I've really reflected on, the first thing I felt whenever I heard about the incidents in Charlottesville and everything else that's been happening recently and for the last several years, is immediately a sense of anger about what happened. and the fact that this cannot continue to happen. How can this be another day where I open my phone and here's another update about some terrible thing, whether it's in the United States or Yemen or Syria or India or whatever, it's always some bad news, and I just get angry at the perpetrators, right? And in this particular country, in our instance, if I kept that anger, and to me, in Islam, this anger is a disease of the heart. It's corroding. It's not good for anybody. And if you keep that anger, and we kind of make it that it's a zero-sum game, and it's me and half the country versus the other half of the country, and we have to fight, and we have to win in order for us to get anything, and they have to lose, right? And that zero-sum game, nobody wins. There's no way for all of us to benefit that way. What we really have to focus on is kind of building our community together, bringing everybody together. People who are white supremacists, people who are spewing this terrible ideology right now, it's difficult for me to come up with the compassion for them that I need to, but my religion demands me to have. But I understand the value of getting there and working to get there and getting this anger out of my heart, which is corrosive, and putting love in it and understanding that what they're saying, that pain comes from somewhere. It's not like they made it up. And I don't believe, because the fitrah in Islam, the natural soul that we have, I don't believe it tends towards hate. So I don't believe that supremacy and that hatred and everything is actually in their heart. They're just in pain, and they're acting out in whatever way that their group says is right. So what we need to do is bring that together, that strong emotion, and build something together as a community. The American dream cannot be fulfilled by one group or two groups. It's by everybody together, and not just the groups we like. And the reason, because I gotta finish, the reason I pray for personal strength and all of us to have strength and courage to move on, especially, is that this seems very daunting. It's hundreds of years in this country of institutional, personal hatred of side against side, and how do we possibly move forward? And to do that, one thing I wanted to remind everybody of is that these barriers are man-made. These are invented. These differences, these nuances between us have become a chasm because of uncompromising ignorance. So we have to educate each other. We have to come together. And wherever these barriers that are man-made are, we can break them down, and we will break them down. And in their place, and in the place of those barriers that we break down, as all Pittsburghers should appreciate, we got to build these bridges. So thank you so much. Assalamu alaikum. Everybody have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you. If I were at home, I would ask everybody to say amen. Boy, that sounds good. Don't tempt me. Let's welcome our African American leadership and Janira Solomon, who will deliver remarks. By the way, the healing continues tomorrow with 2 meetings. The first will be Tim Stevens, who will be meeting with the community and our Pittsburgh police. That's going to be at 10 a.m. at the Pittsburgh Theological Seminary. And then also, I'll tell you about another one in a minute. Come on, Janira.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you, Reverend Mann. Thanks to all of you for being here. Thank you to the mayor and everyone in the mayor's office for being here. And for recognizing that it's not only important to, as Wasi said, dwell in anger, but to think about inspiration. As many of us have already said, and speakers have already said, the tragedy of Charlottesville and our president's subsequent responses are really beyond words. I believe in thinking forward. Maybe it's because I'm an artist. I'm a dreamer at heart. But dreams, as I'm sure you know, take actions. I'm also the mother of a 7-year-old. And I'm here today, rather than in my office writing grant proposals, because I'm thinking about her and her future and her existence in this world that we live in, this place we call America. The thing is, history is important. It's here. It's important. Some folks want to go back, though. They want to take us back. We're not going. We can't go. It's about the future, the future, the future. Today, starting today. And I understand that we as individuals, and there are lots of different types of individuals here, many categories, professionals, politicians, experienced leaders, all of us. And we don't have the same interests all the time. And often, I think, we might even have competing interests. But we've all got the same stake in a healthy, happy, prosperous, loving community. The thing is, and this sign says it, when we think of where this love and community comes from, we often look to the leaders amongst us. We say it's their job. They've got to get it together. What are they doing? What are they not doing? We've got to think of ourselves. It starts with us. And it's easy to identify the extraordinary people. Harriet Tubman, everyone knows. Frederick Douglass, Fannie Lou Hamer, and lots of names. We can go on and on. From the Urban League and the NAACP to Black Lives Matter. But the heroes, those heroes aren't the only heroes we should be thinking about. There are heroes amongst us, all day, every day. Our parents, our grandparents, aunts, uncles, neighbors, friends. And if we want this city to get beyond rhetoric, and you all know the rhetoric, life, liberty, love, we're a city of resilience, innovation. If we want to actually be those things, to make them real, we've got to practice. We've got to practice. And the practice starts with a plan. A plan that guarantees that all of us Pittsburghers, black or white, Asian, LGBT, all of the identity categories, whatever we believe or don't believe, it all starts with a plan that guarantees that we are equipped to pursue and live in this community as we're meant to be. As we're meant to be, as God intended, or whomever you believe in intended. So at KST, we have a saying. I don't have my shirt, but we have a saying at the Kelly Strayhorn Theater, and it says, "Together we build community." Did y'all hear me? Together we build community. I'm sweating because I'm not used to speaking. Together we build community. So we're going to say it together. Together we build community. Say it like you mean it, people. Together we build community. Thank you. God bless you.
Okay, again tomorrow, building community to protect and empower youth and families, 10 until 3 at Pittsburgh Theological Seminary. We thank those who are present today who are fighting daily for the LGBTQ community. There are some representatives here, along with representatives of the mayor's LGBTQIA Advisory Council. If you're here, make yourselves known, please. We thank you for your presence. Thank you. And the healing continues tomorrow as they will be having a seminar and a focus time at Westinghouse Park also at 10 a.m. All right? Let's welcome the Reverend Derek Tynes and the Leamington Gospel Choir.
Give me the mic, please. Sing with me. Lean on me, come on. When you're not strong, I'll help you. I'll help you carry on. Get the mic. It won't be long. I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. Oh, you can call on my brother when you need.
Wow, Pittsburgh, you sing well. What a choir you are. Thank you, Reverend Derek Tynes. Please welcome the leadership from our immigrant communities. Kara Timsina from the Bhutanese Community Association of Pittsburgh. She's going to deliver remarks, and she will be followed by Sister Janice Vanderneck, Director of Casa San Jose. She will give remarks also. Give them a welcome, would you please?
Good things are happening in Pittsburgh and in our county. Now our next job is to take it to other cities and counties in America. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Kara Timsina, and I am the Civic Education and Outreach Manager for BCAP, that is Bhutanese Community Association of Pittsburgh. I am one of 5,000 plus former Bhutanese refugees that have come to Pittsburgh to make it our home. I am very appreciative of Pittsburgh City Mayor Bill Pedito and our County Executive Rich Fitzgerald for making efforts like this to make our city and county welcoming and a livable one. I also salute every community leader and every one of you here making efforts to resonate the Pittsburgh spirit of promoting diversity and making the city a peaceful one. Like any refugee, be they from Asia, Middle East, Africa, or any part of the world, we chose America for a safer home after living in unsafe places for extended period. We chose America not just to find opportunities for ourselves, but to create the same for others in difficulties and to help build America further. We got to build America not just in our infrastructure and technological spire, but also in our peaceful coexistence, social and emotional aspects of life. Having lived in the other sphere of the globe, I know the world looks at America for their hope and development. We can continue to be that America with one sacrifice at our personal level and at all public levels. And that is, cease to think of others by color, by religion, by gender, by ethnic or nationality background. Remember, swords and hateful words have done no good in history. Swords and hateful words have done no good in history. Peace has become a basic need for everyone. For if I don't have peace, I cannot sleep and eat even if I have them. And as a result, I cannot focus on my responsibilities as a citizen. And if I cannot fulfill these, I cannot dream of a better America. Let's all work together to eclipse hatred and bigotry permanently. Let's look upon others like the unbiased sun that does in the sky. Let's pray and breed love. May peace prevail everywhere. Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak some words to you. I was called the director of Casa San Jose, a social service agency for Latinos. But I want to call out, there are Latinos here in front of us, Anya, Betty, Julian, Pilar. And it is on behalf of them and so many others, Latinos, all status, all economic level, that I do what I do. And I do it because I'm a sister of St. Joseph. And the Sisters of St. Joseph mission is love God with all your being and love your neighbor without distinction, which means you love God, you love your neighbor. You love your neighbor, you love God. You cannot divide them. And so those among us whom we would like to vilify because of their immigrant status, because of their religion, because of their association with people who do us harm, we cannot say we love God if we do not seek to love them. Equally, those who do us harm, we must pray for them. We must pray for them. That's the only way we'll build a world of forgiveness and love. And I'd like to speak from Scripture. In the Old Testament, remember it says, there is a time for everything under heaven. And right now is the time for love. And I swear, it says, I swear it's not too late. brothers all from the immigrant community, Benedict, Keir, Ibuboti, our friends.
You know, this occasion is very, very special because it has brought together people from differing vantage points of life. We have a number of elected officials here today, both Democrat and Republican. Sometimes it takes the negative to bring the positive out. And to represent all of our elected officials, Congressman Mike Doyle.
Thank you, Pittsburgh. I can't tell you how proud I am to live in this great city, and I want to thank you for the privilege you've given me to represent you down in Washington, D.C. You know, here in Pittsburgh and across our country, we have to say no to hate and intolerance. We have to say no to hate and intolerance. And I know it's been said many times today, but only love can conquer hate. Only love can conquer hate. Let's say it. Only love can conquer hate. So the message Pittsburgh has for our country and for the world, regardless of your color, your religion, your sexual orientation, regardless of who or what you are, in Pittsburgh, you are welcome. Let's say it, Pittsburgh. In Pittsburgh, you are welcome. In Pittsburgh, you are welcome. In Pittsburgh, you are welcome. God bless Pittsburgh. God bless our country.
You got to give him an extra hand. He's my congressman. Welcome again, Reverend Derek Tynes and the Leamington Gospel Choir. I want to see you clapping your hands. I saw the mayor singing and rocking. The mayor's got soul. The mayor's got soul.
We're going to do one more. You can sing along with it. This little light of mine. Everybody say, I'm going to let it shine. Turn the mic up. This little light of mine. Everybody say, I'm going to let it shine. Hey, this little light of mine. I'm going to let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. Come on, everybody sing. This little light of mine. I'm going to let it shine. Oh, this little light of mine. I'm going to let it shine. Everybody, this little light of mine. I'm going to let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. All over Pittsburgh. All over. All over Pittsburgh. I'm going to let it shine. Hey. All over Pittsburgh. I'm going to let it shine. Everybody say all over Pittsburgh. I'm going to let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. All in my neighborhood. All in my neighborhood. I'm going to let it shine. Hey. All in my neighborhood. I'm going to let it shine. Hey. All in my neighborhood. I'm going to let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. One more time. This little light of mine. This little light of mine. Put your hands together. I'm going to let it shine. This little light of mine. I'm going to let it shine. Yeah. This little light of mine. I'm going to let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. Yeah. Yeah.
On behalf of the county executive, Rich Fitzgerald, Willie McCain is here. Willie, I just want to acknowledge you wherever you are. Give him a hand clap if you would, please. And on behalf of our leadership in the labor community, I'd like to welcome Darren Kelly from the Allegheny County Labor Council. He is also a member of the Pittsburgh Firefighters Union. He is an official there. Let's welcome him for remarks, would you please?
Brothers and sisters, I promise I'll be brief. What an amazing day. What an amazing day. But to tell you a quick little story, on my way here, when I was slowly getting my mind together, my 8-year-old sat next to me. She said, "Dad, where you going?" And I was tying my tie. I said, "Well, Daddy's going down to participate in a rally for peace today." And at that time on the news, there was some segments that she questioned. She said, "What is that?" I said, "That's exactly what we're fighting against." And she said to me, "Dad, God taught me that if these people learn to hate, they can be taught to love." And I said, "You know what, baby? That's exactly what we're trying to do right now." Organized labor. It's a relatively new word. You know, we hear the word bargaining unit. We try to become more sophisticated. But the true word that defines this labor movement, one word: union. A union is made up of a collection of people for the message of solidarity. What a beautiful thing that you can join together where your strength is just not in numbers, but in your diversity. That's a great thing. And I'm proud to say that we've been fighting for generations after generations for the equal respect of all. Not just a better life, not just the right to have a spot at the workplace, but a right to say what you want to do and what you believe and participate in this great democracy. One last statement before I pass the mic. Not only am I a labor leader, but I am a proud veteran of my country. The most cherished aspect of our democracy is the right to say what we think and to assemble peacefully. Is it not, brothers and sisters? Right. But when you make the mistake of dripping hate under disguise of our democracy, you dishonor every veteran that has fallen for that right. So in closing, my brothers and sisters, and I use that as a true term of endearment, because that's the way I feel right now. Rev, that's because you got me wound up. You got me wound up, Rev. Yeah, but our country has seen this before. We learned about it in the history books. We've been down this road before, and we survived. We survived together. Thank you, brothers and sisters. Thank you.
We have members of the foundational and corporate community present with us today, and we want to thank you for your presence. This really represents the coming together of all segments of Pittsburgh society. So I think you ought to give everybody a great big hand. I'd like to invite for remarks at this time Grant Oliphant, who is president of the Heinz Foundation. Hi, Grant.
Thank you, Mayor, for doing this. And thank you, let's thank the Mayor. And thank you to all of you for being here. If we had time, I'd ask you to turn to the person next to you who you don't know and thank them for sharing their time with you. Actually do that, would you, really quickly?
Yeah.
So we have heard a lot today about the word love, but in helping to close this program out, I want to leave you with a reminder that love is a verb, and it is what you do with it that is really important as you leave here. The Sufi poet Hafiz, who is usually better known for his poems on love and faith, also knew a thing or two about the power of community. And in one poem he wrote this: "Out of a great need, we are all holding hands and climbing. Not loving is a letting go. Listen, the terrain around here is far too dangerous for that. In community, we learn that we depend on each other, that we are only as strong as the strength of our relationships with those around us. We learn in community that community feeds us and gives us purpose and shapes who we are. We learn that we are, in fact, made stronger by our differences, and that the only thing that can undo us is letting go, to let hatred and bigotry drive us apart. In these dark days of struggle and climbing, we cannot afford to be silent or passive or to let go of each other in any way. Had the hate groups marched here today, to be honest, it would not have been they who worried me most, despite all their weaponry and their toxic rage. Far more worrisome would be all those who stood quietly by and said and did nothing. Far more worrisome would be those who nodded their heads in tacit agreement, who tisk-tisked the violence but sympathized with the hate, who think that they can stay safe by remaining hidden and silent. My grandmother, Maria de Vries, worked in the resistance during the Nazi occupation of her native Amsterdam during World War II. For a year, she harbored a young Jewish girl named Nell in her tiny apartment, where she shared a bed with my mother and hid in the daytime between drawn curtains and locked doors. When they were finally betrayed, which they were, this tiny band of defiant, hungry women, it was not at the hands of German agents, but at the hands of Nazi-sympathizing neighbors. The rough men who broke into her apartment and dragged Nell away and nearly shot my mother and grandmother were Dutch Nazis, not Germans. The brutal delusions of white nationalism, of white supremacy, of hatred in all its guises must not be allowed to grow, because they become insidious wherever they do. To those who succumb to the illusion that they can stay safe by remaining silent, I'd remind them of what Gertrude Stein said, and I love this. You are so afraid of losing your moral sense that you're not willing to take it through anything more dangerous than a mud puddle. What good is a moral core if you will not use it? Right. What good is opposing racism, anti-Semitism, white supremacy, hatred of whatever form if you will not name it, will not denounce it, and will not oppose it? We have not been a perfect community or a perfect country, and some of you know that far, far better than I. We still have such a long, long way to go to get to a place of justice and true shared freedom. But the idea that we would give up on that journey and instead embrace the darkness is intolerable, and we will not do it. The German pastor Dietrich Bonhoeffer wrote, "There is no way to peace along the way to safety, for peace must be dared. It is the great venture." Out of a great need, friends, we are holding hands and climbing. This is dangerous terrain, make no mistake of it. But we will not stop loving, and we will not let go, and we will get to the top. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Graham. Before the Pittsburgh Youth Choir of the Pittsburgh Impact Church comes, I want to ask you to just remain. I know the hour is getting away from us, but I want to thank the mayor for his vision, for his insight in calling us together. Thank you for allowing me to serve as your MC. I want you to do something we do around our church all the time. Take somebody by the hand on each side of you, lift your voice and say these words. I need you. You need me. We're all a part of God's body. Stand with me. Agree with me. We're all a part of God's body. It is His will that every need be supplied. Squeeze their hand and say, you are important to me. I need you to survive. Thank you so much. Youth choir of the Pittsburgh Impact Church, and then the mayor. Don't leave before the mayor dismisses us.
On Christ the solid rock I stand. All other ground is sinking sand. On Christ the solid rock I stand. All other ground is sinking sand. Built on nothing less than Jesus' blood and righteousness. Dare not trust the sweetest frame, but only lean on Jesus' name. On Christ the solid rock I stand. All around is sinking sand. All around is sinking sand. On Christ the solid rock I stand. All other ground is sinking sand. On Christ the solid rock I stand. All other ground is sinking sand. So His covenanted blood support me in the whelming flood. When all around my soul gives way, then it's all my hope and stay. On Christ the solid rock I stand. All other ground is sinking sand. Other ground is sinking sand. On Christ the solid rock I stand. All other ground is sinking sand. On Christ the solid rock I stand. All other ground is sinking sand. When He shall come with trumpet sound, oh may I then in Him be found, dressed in His righteousness alone, faultless to stand before the throne. On Christ the solid rock I stand. All other ground is sinking sand. All other ground is sinking sand. On Christ the solid rock I stand. All other ground is sinking sand. On Christ the solid rock I stand. All other ground is sinking sand. On Christ the solid rock I stand. All other ground is sinking sand. On Christ the solid rock I stand. All other ground is sinking sand. On Christ the solid rock I stand. I stand. Lord be with you till we meet again. By His counsel's guide uphold you. With His sheep securely fold you. God
till we meet again.
Okay, guys, first off, I've got to thank Valerie McDonald Roberts, this was her idea of pulling us together. Val, thank you. I have to thank an amazing staff of city workers, everybody from parks and our office and public safety that all pulled together to make this happen. I guess I got to thank the Frick building for falling apart so we could have it a block party. I want to thank our food truck buddies. I hope you guys made some money, and thank you for donating back to the community and helping. I have to thank all the leaders that are behind us who, despite any other differences, came together today just to tell us we are one. And I got to thank you for giving up the lunch hour, for being a part of this, for understanding that love can conquer hate, and for believing that going forward in the right process is the way to do it. 2 days ago, I got a message from a mom who lives in East Liberty, and she said her son was going to a birthday party in Mellon Park on Saturday, and she needed to know, Mayor, please let me know he's going to be safe. I don't want him to see people with swastikas. I don't want him to have to walk past somebody wearing a hood. And I had to worry about whether I could tell that mom, yeah, he'll be okay. But this is the way that we make sure that it is okay. We come together. We put away those differences, and we believe in each other. And we understand that in the course of an hour and a half, you can turn fear into a feeling of belief. During this last 1 hour and a half, Steve Bannon resigned from the White House. Thank you for being Pittsburgh. Thank you for praying in whatever way that you pray. Miracles do happen.